Con podcast. This is episode number 2. So
Or are you talking like a robot?
I don't know, but here's what I want to
Just fucking
say,
talk, bro.
Yeah, I am going to say no. I think Eric and I have agreed on. So this is how we're going to do the podcast. I have not told Eric what my topic is going to be for the week, and Eric has not told me what his topic is going to be for the week. So I think that's how we're going to do it. From till somebody tells us they don't like it. And if you don't like it, we don't care.
It might be the same topic. Who knows?
Yeah, we could end up on the exact same topic. We're not going to tell each other through the week, so we're just going to come in and what do we do? Rock, paper, scissors. See who goes first. How are we going to do this?
No, I think we should save what we were going to talk about as far as like the meat of what we were going to talk about a little bit. I want to do a little game first.
Okay. First off, one thing we're forgetting. We're on video.
Oh,
welcome everybody.
Hey guys.
So as you can see, we haven't decorated our office yet. So bear with us. It won't look like this forever. We got some pretty cool banners and stuff I've got made, and we're gonna I'm gonna start with stickers. We might have some merch coming.
Oh, nice.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Huh? What do you think? So yeah, let's play your game, Eric.
First,
I have to get naked?
That's part of it. Just the waist down. First, let's welcome Dory. Dory has a microphone today. Everybody say hi to Dory. She's producing for us. Okay, let's start. We're going to do rapid fire Q&A. Okay. And I
would have liked to have some questions, but go ahead.
No, I got the questions.
You get to choose your own questions?
Yes. We're both going to talk about it.
Okay.
And the only thing you can say are 3 different answers. You can say, I believe that. Or you can say maybe. Or you can say that's bullshit.
Okay.
That's all you can say.
All right. Okay? Let's do it.
Rapid fire. Here we go. Bigfoot.
Believe it.
You believe in it?
Absolutely.
I got to have some context here based on.
Okay, you said I could only say.
No. I mean, okay, first your answer. But
Bigfoot. Here, it's kind of a weird analogy that makes me put this together, but I think there are parts of this world that nobody's ever stepped foot in. I think there's species, especially in the ocean, that are, there's so much unexplained that we haven't noticed yet. Like, I'm sure at some point in time, somebody came upon a bear or something and was like, what the heck is that? I mean, that's new. I mean, I'm not saying they can't be out there. I haven't seen definitive proof that they're not out there.
Okay. So it's a maybe.
It's a maybe. I'll say maybe.
So we see bears though. Have you ever seen a bear?
No, I'm just saying, like, years in the 1600s, a bear came rolling up. Nobody had ever seen one before. They're like, what the heck is that?
I think it goes back farther than the 1600s.
It's probably, but
prehistoric maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think if there was a Bigfoot, we would actually have found him by now? Well, there's that Gigantopithecus. You ever heard of that?
I think so. I'm not sure if it's the one I'm thinking of, but
yeah, that's supposed to be, kind of like Bigfoot, but definitely extinct now. I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that swear they've seen it, and most people don't believe in it. There's a movie out there that I think, remember Bobcat Goldthwait?
Of course I do.
So I think he directed a movie about Bigfoot, and it's supposed to be pretty damn good.
Is it called What About Bob? No, no. Is it called the Bernsteins or whatever that
Dory,
was?
Can you look that up? Bigfoot movie by Bobcat Goldthwait.
Bigfoot movie. Bobcat. Right there.
Is it up there?
It's getting there. Willow Creek.
Willow Creek, directed by Bobcat Goldthwait with a bunch of people I don't know.
I had no idea.
A
Bobcat
man and his girlfriend camp in the woods. Well, that's a good premise.
Well,
North Carolina. Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna watch that.
Okay.
I heard it's pretty good. I don't know what.
Made in 2014, huh?
Yeah.
I didn't know he did movies like that. I thought he was just an actor, but okay.
Comedian, actor.
All right.
Okay. Second question. Obvious UFOs.
Oh, 100%.
Well, now 100%.
Yeah, now 100%. I mean, they're releasing. Here's how crazy the world is right now. They just released files saying that the UFOs are real, and people are like,
they don't give a shit.
Okay.
They just want to lower gas prices.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know how or when or who, but I mean, they could be here. They could be here in our town. According to the conspiracies out there with Mount Graham, they could be here.
Well, you remember the old movie Fire in the Sky?
Yes, that happened in Sholo or Pine Top.
I think above Payson.
The 1993 movie. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm
it
telling
was
you,
in.
I've driven that back way to Flagstaff
It's
from
just the
Payson,
White Mountains.
and it's spooky out there, man.
Yeah.
I can see that happening.
Want to hear a great story about that?
I do want to hear a great story because I know what story you're going to tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am on vacation in Orange for a couple years.
That's not the story that I was talking about.
But this is a better story. Let me tell you.
Okay.
So while I was on vacation in Florence for a couple years, one of my bunkies, I noticed he had a bunch of...
in Florence.
Yeah.
I thought you said Orange.
Yeah, Orange.
Oh, I thought you
my outfit was orange.
Orange
Prison,
County.
Eric. I was in prison. Do you want me to say it?
You were at Disneyland and
So-
you saw a guy from France.
My bunkie was he had all these like tabloids and stuff in his bunk, and I never knew what they were. And finally one day I'd asked him, I'm just like, what is that stuff? And he goes, you don't know the stories about me? I said, no, I do not. And I was bunkie with Travis Walton. The guy that got abducted was in prison with me.
And that's the guy that went up in the ship.
Yes, I believe it was Travis Walton. It was. I'm pretty sure he's the one that was in. He got. I don't know. See if he did time in prison.
Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he was my roommate. So I got to hang out with him, and it sucks that I didn't know this till almost the time that I was released. So I never really got to talk to him about it. What was I just kind of
What else did you guys talk about?
Yeah, it's none of your business. No, it's not Travis Walton. Then it's one of the other ones that was with him. Travis Walton was the one that did not go to prison, but yeah, he was in there with me. I think it messed him up real bad, if I remember right. I don't know. I don't know 100%. And I don't want to say just in case,
Right.
I'm wrong on that. But yes, he was in Florence with me. But I never got to talk to him about it because it was just, I don't know. I had other things on my mind, I guess.
Gotcha.
But now looking back, I'm like, crap, I wish I would have asked him this or done that or,
One day when I record a podcast, I need to have this information.
I need to have that information. So yeah, he was in there with me. And he was one of the four, I believe, that was abducted or claims to have been abducted.
Yeah, look up who all was in that incident. Maybe it'll ring a bell with Tanner. Yeah, and also to just throw this out there for our listeners, and when Tanner said I might be wrong, I'm telling you, we're going to be wrong a lot. We try to fact check everything.
In fact, I have an apology I need to make right now before we go any further. I want to clarify, last week when I was talking about my drug use and where it started, I said that it made me better playing football. I want to 100% say, no, it did not. I thought it did, but I don't want anybody getting the wrong impression or thinking that, hey, we can go do meth and we'll be better at football, because that is not the case.
Yeah,
it was a giant mistake thinking that could help me. But yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to clarify from last week's episode. So
yeah, I don't think that's on the list of performance enhancement drugs.
No, it's not.
That's not. You're not going to find an NFL football player doing meth to get better at playing football.
Nope. Let's see. Those are the names of the guys.
I believe.
Let's see. There's Mike Rogers, Alan Dallas, David Whitlock, Greg Hayes, and
Cogdill, Kenneth
I don't
Peterson.
know. One of them was in there with me. It's been, that was the year 2001. So
yeah,
it's a long time ago for me. But I do believe in the UFOs. I think that they are, obviously, we know now that they do exist. I'm a little confused on how big a part they play in everyday society now.
Well, here's my beef with the federal government releasing that information. Yeah, release it, but give us some freaking guidance on it. Give us a task force or some experts that have some kind of opinion on it. They just send it out there into the ether and try to, on redacted documents, and we have to decide for ourselves. Are there experts? I'm sure there's a huge task force that's assigned to this that can give us some kind of information. Like, are these aliens or from another planet? Are they advanced technology of different countries that surround us? Like, what's going on? And that's kind of what I have a problem with. And also, I mean, it's always look at this hand while this hand does something
Yeah.
else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And it seems like whenever something's going on that's controversial that they don't want us to talk about, they give us information on something else. That's kind of my take on it.
Well, if any of our listeners is in fact an alien, would you
Yeah.
please,
Call
please
into the show.
call in, or, you got my number. Yeah, I'm sure you're an alien. You can find it.
Right?
So we'd
Advanced
love to hear from
technology.
you. We'd love to
Do
hear
you know
from
who
you.
Neil deGrasse Tyson is?
Yes.
So Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astrophysicist. He's all over the internet. And I saw a really cool thing with him one time, and he said that we are 1% removed from chimpanzees as human beings. Homo sapiens are 1% removed. That means our DNA is exactly 1% different than a chimpanzee's. We are made up of 5 of the most common elements in the universe. I don't know what they are. It's carbon, hydrogen, and some other stuff. Why would we be so egotistical to think that we're special, that we're the only ones in this giant universe, this vast, unending universe that takes this form? Somewhere out there, there's some kind of life form that's 1% removed from us DNA. And their kids are bringing home symphonies from, second grade and putting it on the fridge. Like, how often a day do you think about chimpanzees?
25 times a day.
He's 25 times. We don't think about them that much until they're brought up, right? And that's how I think they are. I mean, they don't really think about us that much. We're kind of a lower life form than them. Why would they think about us? And unless, now we're, blowing shit up with nuclear bombs and stuff. So maybe we've got their attention,
Yeah.
but that's how I think of it. I definitely do believe in UFOs, and I definitely do believe in aliens.
Yeah. No,
So,
I do too.
all right, this is a good one. And I already know the answer. Ghosts.
Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Come on. I believe I've spoke to ghosts. Not only do I believe in them, I believe I've had direct communication as soon as last weekend. I believe I've had direct communication.
I saw
with
the video.
With some evidence I caught. We'll dive into that soon.
Yeah, soon. Not on this podcast.
Oh no, definitely on this podcast.
Oh, you want to do it on this podcast?
That's my topic.
That's your topic. All right. Okay, great. That's what I want to hear, because I saw the video, and look, I'm a skeptic. I'm a scared skeptic. Like, I don't believe 100% like Tanner does. I don't want to believe. I like to sleep at night. But I saw the video, and it's pretty disturbing. I did an investigation with Tanner one time, where he works, and the whole place is creepy, but there's a room in the back where it's like a home theater room.
Mm-hmm.
And that place just gives off a weird vibe. I don't know if it's a sound deadening in the room. I don't know what it is, but we did an investigation there with, what is that thing called? FM something?
So it's called the Spirit Box.
Spirit Box.
SB7.
And it scrolls through FM channels, like split seconds of FM channels.
So I have it set to 200. It changes radio stations throughout the whole gamut of 88 point or 82, whatever it is, all the way to 107.9. But it changes radio stations every 200 milliseconds.
Yeah. So it's
if you hear a word come across, like, it's not coming from one radio station. Like, to get a full word or even a full sentence across multiple radio stations at once, that's I don't know. To me, that is, I think that's just proof that there's something out there.
So when we were doing this investigation, me and Gobble, I think, Tanner had the Spirit Box on, and it was cycling through these channels, split seconds. And so it's just kind of like
it just goes like this.
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
That's how fast it's changing radio stations.
And Tanner said, "Where are you?" And a female voice came over the Spirit Box and said, "I'm on the porch." And then I turned around and I left, because I ain't going to stick around for that. And but Tanner did try to talk to her and said, don't be scared, and which I found ironic that Tanner told the spirit not to be scared. But look, I'm a believer, but I just don't know if I want to mess with that crap.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
fair enough.
We'll come back to that. All right. Um, I'm going to skip a couple of these because they're part of my topic
Okay.
that I want to talk about a little later on, but I will talk about one. How about the moon landing?
I don't know. Um, was it was
So
it
that's
Coppola?
a maybe.
Was it Coppola, or who was the director that that supposedly did it? What was the big actor? I mean, the big director back then.
Might have been Coppola. I'm not sure.
I don't. Um, gosh, who was it? It's no, there's that one.
Yeah,
Here's the problem with
type in moon landing hoax.
yeah, that'll give us who they thought directed it. Was one of the biggest directors of the time, and Stanley Kubrick. That's who it was. The conspiracy theory is that Stanley Kubrick directed it, and it was all done in there was.
In a studio,
Yeah,
basically.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, the guys are stepping on the moon, and no dust is coming up.
The flag's waving in the
Flags
background
waving. There's
when there's no wind on the moon.
Yeah, there's just so much that contradicts it, that makes it seem like it was fake. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, here's the right there. Flag is waving in the wind, but there's no wind on the moon. There's visible stars. I don't know why that would be a conspiracy, but the footprint doesn't match the boots worn. There's that too.
No, they're saying there's no visible stars.
Oh yeah, there are no visible
No
stars.
visible
That's right.
stars in the sky.
So I mean, I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I mean, again, same thing. I don't have any. I mean, these are pretty compelling pictures here we're looking at, but
Mhm.
there's no proof that it actually, happened. But there's also no proof that it didn't. I don't know.
Well, they're also, if you watch the video of the press conference afterwards,
Mm,
it's pretty telling, man, as far as their demeanor and stuff. It looked like they're almost embarrassed to be there.
yeah,
So the astronauts. So I don't know. I'd like to think. I mean, my biggest argument was like, when's the last time we've been to the moon? Like, we haven't gone back since, but now we have. We
yep,
haven't landed on the moon, but
mm,
they did go to the dark side of the moon with some astronauts a few months ago.
yep.
So, uh, allegedly. So, I'd like to think with our technology now, and it might be more conceivable. But that was what, 1964?
I think it was 64. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's 62 years ago.
Let me see. What does it say? It was. It was 1969.
69. Okay.
Yep. Yep. 1969. So who knows?
And I have one more,
Okay.
and then we'll get into a little bit of stuff. Um, Hitler.
What about Hitler?
Did he really die, or did he
No,
escape?
no. I think he lived out his years in Brazil.
Yeah, South America. Yeah,
Yeah, I think he
yeah.
was. I think he was. I think they faked his death, and I think he lived out all his years. And I can't remember where I saw that either, but I saw this. I mean, there's a guy that lived there, and there was a lot of Germans escaped to there.
Do you know there's entire cities in South
Yes,
America
that are
that are
German.
they're German cities?
That like tons of Germans escaped to Brazil and lived there, for the rest of their time on Earth. And it seems like, um,
Can you look up Germans in South America? What country that was? I don't know if it was Brazil or not. But have you heard about the skull fragment
mm-mm.
that they gave to the Russian government? When they found Hitler's body, they gave the Russian government part of a skull fragment. Well, now with DNA testing, they've tested that skull fragment, and it's from a female.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's not even a male skull fragment. So
Yeah. No, I don't think Hitler died when they said he did. And
Brazil is one country. Let's see, Argentina, Chile.
Argentina is the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
I think that's the one that they think.
and they have entire Bavarian cities, like with Bavarian architecture and
Mhm.
everything. And actually, there was testing and torture on a lot of the natives in South America by some of the Nazi
Hmm.
doctors that escaped there. So yeah, it's highly conceivable that Hitler lived out the rest of his
Yeah, I
days
think he
in
did.
South America.
I'm pretty sure he did.
But we can dive into that on a later. This is just some stuff I wanted to do, like a rapid fire Q&A to kind of, set stuff up for later episodes and kind of, get everybody's brains going. Um, before we get started on our topics, though, um, well, we can do that later. I was gonna relay a couple stories, when I got to train some soldiers, but we can get to that later, um, when we get on some other topics. I want to hear your
My
topic.
topic.
Yeah, I want to hear
Okay.
your topic.
So obviously this week I chose the paranormal. I don't know why I said obviously, but um, I'm so heavily invested into the paranormal. I was I don't know where it was, but one night I was bored in Tucson, and I was on the Travel Channel and Ghost Hunters with Jason Hawes, and his partner, can't remember his name either, but they came on. I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot and see what it's like. So it was, I was hooked immediately. And so I started researching it. And I'll give you, it's for you guys that aren't into the paranormal. Let me give you a little lesson on the paranormal. So there was a spiritualism boom back in the late 1800s. It started with tea parties and seances. They were huge in the 1800s. People wanted to believe that they could talk to their relatives and that and there was tons of Hugh, Grant. Yeah, that's his name. But there was especially the ones that got known for it in the beginning were the Fox sisters, and the Fox sisters were able to talk to the dead by using taps. So they were able to answer questions. So you'd ask, who's with us, and you'd hear a tap that represented a letter in the alphabet. That they would count off the alphabet, and as they counted off the alphabet, it would stop tapping at the letter. So they believe, people believe they were talking to their dead relatives because these girls were able to nail it, who they were. So it turns out later they figured out, and they admitted that one of the girls was able to crack her toes on demand. So she would double joint her toes and it would tap the floor, like it would just pop. And every time she'd do it, she'd research whoever these people were that coming in to pay, ahead of time. And she knew all this information. So like these three sisters completely biggest hoax in the paranormal world to begin with, but they were very successful for a long time doing this method. So then the Society for Paranormal Psychical Research in 1882 was a bunch of guys in a basement. There were scientists, there were Nobel laureates, there were all kinds of these people. And Thomas Edison, he was one of the first ones to work on the theoretical spirit phone that he was claiming he could talk to the dead with. So that's kind of where it all started. And then into the 1920s and 1930s, there's a big boom of people that, were just, I don't know, I guess they were just seeking to speak to people that they've lost, So, and if you want to believe it, you're going to believe it, they went full hook, line, and sinker on these guys. But the people that made it famous, do you know who they are? You got to know.
That made what famous?
Ghost hunting.
Ghost hunting famous?
Yeah. The two most famous ghost hunters in the world.
What? Give me a time frame.
Well, it would have been 1960s, 1970s.
Holy crap. I don't know.
Ed and Lorraine Warren.
I wanted to say something.
Yep.
Oh, the Warren house.
The one that the Conjuring movies were made after their stories.
The Warren. There's the house. The Warren house, right?
So the Warrens.
That's the one that what's his name bought, right?
Yes. And they have allegedly 10,000.
What's his name?
Matt Rife.
Matt Rife.
Elton Castile.
Right.
So they bought it, but Ed and Lorraine Warren had the paranormal museum up in Connecticut, which was just bought by Matt Rife and Elton Castile. They bought it
Hey,
after Lorraine passed.
let me ask you this:
Mm.
you gonna plan a vacation, go spend the night?
So they have you can do that right now.
Yeah,
Right now they have the overnight team. Elton has nights you can rent. It's $2,000 a night,
right.
and you can take up to. I mean, you could get the price down to like $100 a person. They don't really. They didn't say anywhere that I looked that you'd have to have a
A limit.
number amount, yeah, limit of people, but
I know
I'm
they
sure there's
just
only
opened it
limited
up.
sleeping, but
They just opened it up year round. I just heard
yes,
that.
but they are building a new museum. So
Isn't that gonna
right
take away
now,
the mystique of
that's what
everything?
I kind of thought too, but they are taking all of their stuff to Salem,
Oh,
Massachusetts. And they're building, it's going to be temporary till they build the really big one. But for now, like the Annabelle doll, and a lot of the big, the mirror from The Conjuring, there's all those things they have in possession of all those things.
right.
So they're going to be doing that. But they were the ones that kind of made it famous. Um, People started really doubting them because a lot of the people think that they made all these stories up to sell books. That's wherever the skepticism came from was a lot of that. They just but there's also people that firsthand saw what they do. So Lorraine claimed to be a medium; she could speak to the dead. She saw things. She was able to communicate, and Ed was just just scientist. I think he ended up being a pervert, though. If I'm not mistaken, he did some weird stuff. But anyway,
That tracks.
there's stories of The Conjuring, the Annabelle doll. There's all kinds. They were involved in the Devil Made Me Do It. So the only case in American history that the murder defense was the devil made me do it. And I think he won that case. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, they were known for they investigated 10,000 cases. They were highly controversial. Critics and skeptics often accuse them of embellishing stories for fame and book deals. So I don't know, are there any heroes protecting families or brilliant storytellers? Who knows? Who knows what they are? They could be both the big heroes that saved the day for a lot of these families, or they just knew how to tell a damn good story.
Says right there that Ed entered into a romantic relationship
Yeah, with
with
a 15-year-old.
the assistant,
Yeah, so
Judith
he
Penny.
wasn't a very good guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think that, which is still I don't it's still horrible. But the people were saying because of what he did in life and what he dealt with, and he was I wouldn't say possessed, but he just they were constantly in this dark. I don't know. They took the worst of the worst. They weren't going out and having good fun time with their friends. They were out seeking demons. He
Yeah,
claimed to
I
be a
mean,
demonologist, and they would go out and find the worst of the worst and do things.
maybe that's my apprehension, man. I just some of that stuff just gives me a bad feeling. I know it gets you going, but
Yeah.
some of it gives me a bad feeling. Have you been to do we have this conversation? Have you been to Terror Trader over in the valley in
Uh-uh.
Phoenix, in Chandler? There's a store called Terror Trader. It's like a kinda like a Halloween store on steroids, but really
Oh, okay.
really
I've
cool
seen
stuff.
it. I've not been it yet.
And they have a room. They have some really cool, like, movie rooms, like, Crystal Lake, and they have, Nightmare on Elm Street, they have Freddy in there, you can take pictures with all these, but they have this room that has all these artifacts in it. And Dory is she's kind of an empath. She feels deeply. She gets good vibes and bad vibes off things. And we entered this room, and I got a bad feeling immediately. There was a bunch of stuff framed. There was a doll in a case. Um, it had all the stories written, but man, it was creepy, man. That
Yeah. No,
that
I'd
we
I'd like to go in
definitely could
there.
feel it.
Well, and that's I guess that's kind of I wouldn't say I'm empath or anything like that, but I think that in the ones that I've gone on, I know not to mess with it when I get that feeling.
Right.
Where we
But you are messing with it.
I mess with it, yeah. But
Yeah.
the week before, we went somewhere, and in part of the house. So we do something called the Estes method. I learned it from Project Fear and Sam and Colby. We do it. That Sam and Colby, that's like everybody loves it when they do the Estes method. So you get a pair of noise canceling headphones. You put on that spirit box that I talked about earlier, and you blindfold yourself. So you don't have any, it's just kind of sensory deprivation. And all you do is listen to that radio and you just call out whatever words you hear. So you can't hear what anybody's asking. And then you just call out the words. Well, when we were in the house last week, um, I kept the person in the Estes method kept saying, "Get out. You don't belong here.
That's what they were
Go."
saying was
That's
being
what
told to them.
that's what he kept yelling out.
Right.
And we were ways away. Plus, he had the noise canceling headphones on and stuff like that. And I don't know. I guess that is where I'm just drawn to that. Like everybody else was like, we probably ought to go, and I'm like, nah, we're gonna hang out.
I'm
We're
the
gonna
one that
stay.
wants to go.
But at the same time, that's what I was telling you. I have another piece of equipment called the paranormal music box. So it's like a jewelry box where you open it up and it makes the ding ding ding
It's the
ding ding ding.
creepiest thing I've ever heard.
So it's a little coffin shaped thing and it has two sensors on the front. If you step in front of it, it makes the music box go. So about 30 feet away from us, while it's telling us to get out, we had it up on the top of the stairs pointing down the stairs, and the music box went off. And that one even scared me. And my kid was with me. And in the video, you can hear her going, so that's what I was like, all right, maybe we should pack up and take off out of here. But yeah, that was, and we have we use a paranormal bell. So the bell is, it puts off a field and it's like a bell from like a receptionist desk where you ding the bell. And
do you have the video on your phone?
I do.
Can you play a little bit of it?
Let me get it to that while I'm telling you. Yeah. So this bell, it'll go. So what it does is it puts out a magnetic field, and if anything enters into that magnetic field that's putting off an EMF, any kind of stuff like that, it rings by itself. So let me get to the video. I'll let you guys hear how active this bell was. Now, I can't show you obviously right here because we're on a podcast, but someday we'll be able to do it. But
Yeah,
there's
we gotta figure out the technology.
yeah, once we figure that out, I'll be able to show you guys that we were all about 15 feet away from the bell. We were not close. We and the thing went freaking nuts, like to where we were just there were some names and stuff I don't want anybody hearing, so I'll probably just play just the part where the bell goes off. But it was pretty creepy. Like it was just it went off for about 10 minutes, just nonstop. It just ding 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 ding. And in the video, you can see us. We're not close to it. And then it started we'd ask it questions, and it would ring the bell according to what we were asking. We'd ask it, are you this person? And it would ding. We'd ask it to turn on other equipment, and it would turn it on, and then the other equipment would turn off when we asked it to stop. So I have no idea where the video is. I'd have to find it. But yeah, well, oh, here it is. So let me see if okay, wait. Hold on. I got it on my fantastic glasses, so you won't be able to hear it. Now, here we go. So this is I'll just give you a sample. This is how big the bell was going off.
Flashlight up too.
Just see here.
Okay.
And it did that for 20 minutes. Nobody's even around it. It just kept going off. And we were like, then when we finally got it to calm down, we just figured out, hey, maybe, we turned off the bell and we had another EMF detector right next to it. And we were telling it, like, okay, now the bell's gone. Just in case the bell was malfunctioning, turn that on. And right on cue, turned it on. Beep. And then I said, can you turn it off? And it stopped as soon as I told it to turn off.
Can you give us a little background on the location without giving up
It's just
the
here.
location?
Yeah, no, it's just here in the valley. That's as far as I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a house. And it's been here probably since the 1930s is yeah, it's I mean, obviously, if I was a skeptic going into that night, there's no way I would have been afterwards. No way.
Right.
But yeah, it was a pretty interesting scene. But that kind of stuff is, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a thrill seeker because I'm so scared of heights. I can't even get on my roof to hang my Christmas lights. I have to have somebody else do it. I literally last year had to grab my 15-year-old neighbor, 2 years ago, grab my 15-year-old girl neighbor And she had to hang the lights for me because I'm scared. So I wouldn't call myself a thrill seeker, but when it comes to the afterlife and the paranormal, I'm 100% in. There's nothing I don't believe. I think that there is life out there. I think there's a dimension that that life lives in. I want to know more about it.
You think the veil is thin?
I do. I think that I truly believe that our loved ones watch over us. And I think some of them may have figured out how to communicate with us.
So where does this come from with you? Like, were you like this as a kid?
Never.
Do you have any fascination of it?
I literally just watched Ghost Hunters in 2007 because I had nothing else to watch. And I was like, well, I'll try this out. And I don't know. I was immediately hooked.
And see, I'm the opposite. As a kid, I was super into horror movies. I was super into like the effects, and being an artist, I was into the makeup effects, and I was into all the old monsters like Bela Lugosi's Dracula and Boris Karloff, the Mummy, and the Bride of Frankenstein, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and the werewolf.
Were those color movies?
No, they weren't.
and
and they were old when I watched them.
I watched them in the theater the day they came out.
I have a really good friend that he's in Indonesia right now. Shout out to Nathan Salas. We're gonna have him on the podcast.
He's my
soon.
friend too.
He's Tanner's. We have a friend, and excellent musician. He's in a band called Waiting for Eternity and the Leon Long Project, and they tour quite often. But he's in Indonesia right now.
He toured with Nickelback, didn't he?
They toured with Nickelback. They toured with Spin Doctors. They toured with Cold. Really, really good guy. And as weird as me and Tanner are, he is 100 times more weird in a really, really awesome way. His house here in Safford, they have a house here in Safford, him and his wife, they have a parlor filled with oddities.
Yeah, it's an oddities museum. As soon as you walk in, you're like, there's, what was there? Like, there was a skull of a...
It's a skull from Papua New Guinea.
He had a shrunken head.
It's a cannibal skull, yes.
Yeah, he had, I mean,
it's
a
old
full
taxidermy
museum. It's cool as shit, man.
Oh, yeah, he has a piece of Charles Manson's porch from the ranch.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even touch it. And he has this old taxidermy. He has a jawbone of a prehistoric cave bear. He's got all kinds of cool stuff. And he's got a story for every piece and every artifact. It's not just random. There's a story behind it. He knows all the stories. The parlor is decorated really cool Victorian. He's got an old one of the old phonographs with the cylinder recording, and he's got an actual recording from, like, I don't know when it was from, the 1800s, and then you can hear voices of the people from the 1800s. It's super creepy. But he has upstairs, he has a theater by his studio, and he has signed movie posters or pictures signed by, I'm sure they're pictures signed by Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff, like from the 1940s or something like that, or 1950s. So he has some really cool stuff. And
well, I've stared directly into Bela Lugosi's actual mirror. So I went to the Zach Bagans Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. So he has everything in there. He has, like, if you'd we got the VIP tour, so we got to go downstairs into the basement of this place. But down at the bottom of the stairs, he's got Bela Lugosi's mirror, and it's on the wall right there. And people say you can scrying in that mirror and you'll see people. And so scrying is, or scrying, I'm sorry, scrying is when that a lot of people believe that is a dimension that's
like a portal.
So they claim that if you look into the mirror long enough, you'll see, apparitions and things like that. So at the bottom of the stairs, he has a spirit box going 24 hours a day, and he's got Bela Lugosi's mirror down there.
Which one is it?
That's
Nella.
Yeah, you put Nella.
Nella Lugosi's. That's Bela Lugosi's.
That's Bella's daughter.
Yes.
Bela Lugosi's mirror. Okay, so
is that it right there?
Yeah, that's it right there with Zach Bagans right there. So that mirror is down in the bottom of the and it's said, I don't know, he had a story for it. They think that mirror holds residual energy from things it's seen. And a lot of people believe that mirrors do that, like mirrors that were in houses where tragedies happen and things like that. People think that those mirrors see it just like we see it, and
Sounds
they
like
retain it.
an episode of Supernatural I watched.
Yeah, and so, well, I bet probably.
It is.
But yeah, he had Jack Kevorkian's suicide van in that place. He has the actual van. He has Charlie Manson's last drawings. He has Ted Bundy's glasses, duct tape. He has his like all the kit. He bought it at an auction, so it's full of absolutely horrible stuff. But I thought I was okay with it. Me and Kelly went but we went to the Kansas City. Kansas City. I don't know. He was a suicide. I mean, not a suicide. He was a serial killer in Kansas City, and he has the bed where he used to tie the people down to, still with all it's still soiled. And I do believe I as soon as I walked in there, before I even knew what was in there, I didn't feel well in it, and I couldn't. It just kept going over and over in my head for a long time. I really that's one of the things I do regret looking at. Like, I feel like it did something to me. It just was. It was just too real. Like, it was the bed. It still had the blood on it. It still had it was the bed that the guy used. And so there's a lot of weird stuff like that when I feel that way, I don't stick around.
Speaking of that, have you, before you got into, the fun part of the paranormal stuff and the investigations and as a hobby, have you ever had any experiences before that with any kind of ghosts or entities or any weird shit going on?
If I did, I'm unaware.
I have one.
I don't know if it happened to me. I don't know if it, before 2007 when I first watched Ghost Hunters, I don't know that I ever gave it a thought or a second thought. I just wasn't part of anything I'd ever thought of before. And maybe that's why it intrigued me so much, because it was just something new. It was something that to me was just like, hey, that could happen.
So I bought a house in probably 2006 or 7 across the street from your sister over on when they lived on 10th Avenue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know which one.
And so we were in this house for about a year, and we bought it from some people that moved up to Utah, and they did a really good job on the house. They built a cool little dollhouse playhouse in the back. That was a 2-story dollhouse playhouse. It was really cool. Everything inside was kind of like columns and huge molding, and it was a beautiful house. I was a cop at the time, and I was working night shift. I'd get home 2 or 3 in the morning, and we had a family room that was kind of like dining room, family room, right off the living room, kind of small, but it had a wall AC unit in it, but we never used it. We just used the regular AC unit,
Mhm.
and it was the middle of winter, and so it was unplugged. It was taped up. Everything, you couldn't use it. You have to uh, plug it in and take the tape off and everything. Um, One morning I woke up, and my wife at the time was getting ready for work, and I woke up and get some coffee, and she was like, "Did you turn the air conditioner on in the family room?" And I was like, "Nope, I didn't turn the air conditioner." So it was plugged in. It was on. That was one event. Another is, how when you rent a movie back in the days when you rented DVDs, or now everything's streaming.
What's a DVD?
But if you, we'll go back to VHS and beta. But when you rent it as a couple, you can't watch it you can't watch it without the other
Yeah.
person. It's cheating. And so woke up, same thing. Hey, did you watch that DVD we rented last night? I'm like, no. Well, it was in the DVD player.
Hmm.
Little shit like that. Um, I sleep with a fan. I would get up and take my daughter to school. Working nights, I'd go back to bed. The fan would be off. I'm like, did I turn the fan off? Just little stuff like that. So one night I came home. It was dark in the house. I would get undressed in that room, so I didn't wake up the rest of the house with all the Velcro and taking my gun belt off and everything, and my vest and stuff. And so I'd get undressed, put everything on the table, and so I just got undressed, and I just stood there in the dark for a couple minutes. And finally, I was just like listening and just like kind of feeling everything. And finally, I just said, they moved to Utah. And because the only thing I could think of is I was talking to a buddy of mine, and he grew up in a house that they owned before they bought that house on 10th Avenue. And they had a son who was killed on his mission. He's 19 years old. And this person that lived in the house after them, him and his sister would see a young man walking through the house.
Hmm.
Um, they swore they saw it. So the only thing I could think of is this was their son haunting this house, and he was trying to find his parents. And so after I said they moved to Utah, I never had another issue, never had another problem
Why did you say that?
because his parents had moved to Utah.
So okay, so you were just
I was trying to redirect
throwing
him.
it out there, just
Yeah,
like, hey,
they moved to Utah. Like, try to
in
find
case
them
this
there.
is who this is, I'm
Right.
just gonna. Okay, I thought maybe you were like possessed for a second. And was like, they moved to Utah, and then you woke up and like, what happened to me? No, okay, cool, yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I as far as so for a while there, I kind of worried about doing paranormal stuff that I might be doing something sacrilegious. And because I thought, is this something like,
Because you're a religious guy.
well, at that time I was.
Right.
And so I went and talked to the bishop, and I'm like, hey, how does the church feel about ghost hunting and, paranormal stuff? And he's like, well, what's in the Trinity? And I said, God, Jesus, and the Holy Ghost. He's like, of course we believe in ghosts.
Oh, wow.
Like, that's, part of the Trinity is a ghost. Like, so yes, we do believe in that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know why, but it really had me concerned there for a while. I thought, man, am I doing something that's
You playing with fire,
yeah, and
playing with the devil.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of and there's stuff like Ghost Adventures, which Zach Bagans, who owns that haunted museum, like that show bothers me a little bit. It's entertaining, but again, he always tries to find the deepest, darkest, most evil, and I mean, I think it's a lot of crap because I've seen where he'll go to like Penn State. I mean, Penn State Penitentiary, and gets possessed, and all this demonic stuff happens, and then Project Fear or Sam and Kobe go there, and they're like, "Oh, cool, we heard noises," and
Right.
so I think he does but they also go in and like
Well, they have different
they go in trying to
audiences,
summon like they play with that fire, like
Right.
they're trying to get the worst of the worst when they're there, and
Well,
stuff like that bothers me, and I don't think that everywhere you go is going to be. And the other thing is this, I actually when I was at Paracon, Dave Schrader, who's one of the OG ghost hunters, he's been around forever. He actually did so Hans Holzer was I think he was either before or he was after the Warrens, but he did a lot of under the radar ghost stuff. So he had a whole bunch of files, and his daughter gave all the files to Dave Schrader, and they made a show called the Holzer Files, and they went and recreated and went to these places that Hans Holzer went with the permission of his daughter, like did the same kind of stuff to but anyway, they had this huge para-unity thing. We were there, and he had a Q&A, and he was in there, and I'd asked him, like, what do you think the ghosts think of us? And does every time you get touched, is it evil? And he kind of he broke down like this, and I thought about it. He's like, let's just say ghosts are real, and they're floating around your house. They've talked to nobody in years. Here you come. They want to talk to you. Maybe they do reach out and push you, or like, think of it this way. You're in a room, you're talking to your buddy, and he just ignores you the whole time. What are you going to do? Like, maybe,
Right.
and he's like, and some of them may be like we are with them. Like, they walk in and they're like freaked out because now there's humans in their space. So that's why I'd said, when you had said that it was weird that I said, don't be afraid of us, because who knows? They might be like just as freaked out that there's humans in there as they are that, we are, that there might be ghosts in there. So, but yeah, he gave me he told me that. And, I don't know. He was just really cool. It was really good to talk to him.
Well, there is an audience for the really extreme stuff though,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
There are people that like to play with the devil
Yes.
and get off on that. And so like to each his own, right?
Mhm.
That's why we have choices to what we consume as content and what we choose not to consume.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty much the history of my paranormal, and I'm interested in you guys. You guys have any paranormal stuff that's happened to you? Maybe shoot us message us on the Facebook page. Let us know, like any of these topics we talk about. If you have an opinion, let us know. We'd like
Yeah.
to. I mean,
We
we'd
want the
love to
feedback.
talk about it and hear what you guys have to say. I mean, obviously, we're the most important people in the world. That's why we're doing this. What a pleasure it must be to listen. But anyway, yeah, we would love to hear from you. If you've got some paranormal experiences or anything like that, or anything on any of the topics we do, feel free to hit us up on the Facebook page. Um, yeah, we'd
Yeah,
like to hear from you.
and also I want to just thank everybody for listening to our last podcast. We had a really good first release of our first podcast, and we had quite a few views, and we are kind of overwhelmed by the feedback and by the support, and uh, and just keep it coming, man. We got more content coming. We got some really cool stuff. We'll get to at the end of this podcast. We're gonna kind of give you a little tease of what's coming. We got some big stuff coming. But I wanted to talk about
Yeah, let's
some
get into Eric's topic.
AI.
Hey, can you push pause for a second? I gotta pee.
Yeah.
We'll jump back in after I pee. Oh, that felt so good.
And we're back
Oh,
after a pee break.
so I told myself before we started this, I was like, you know what? You probably ought to go pee first just in case. And guess who didn't? Eric.
I didn't.
Eric didn't also. So, yeah, can't believe it. Them old people and them bladders, you know? So that, like I said, that's all we had for my segment. So now we're going to move on into Eric's segment, which is
AI. I want to talk about AI a bit because, it's basically taken over our lives. So we might as well talk about it. And there's so many aspects to it, so many things. I want to talk about a couple of different things. AI in art and music. What's your take on it, Tanner?
I just worry. I guess I don't worry. Here's something I like about AI. A lot of the times, I'll have an idea for a song and I'll have like what I want and I can even put like what feelings I'm feeling. Hey, I need to write a song. This is my topic and this is how I'm feeling right now. And it'll make lyrics that'll match it. I haven't dipped too much into making music with it, just songwriting.
Right, just prompts for your song.
And I struggle with it because I'm like, yeah, it's not like I didn't write it, but it is my idea. So I don't know. I go back and forth with it.
Well, as an artist, and art is in everything, not just fine art, but music and everything else we create. How I look at the world is you're either a consumer or a creator or a combination of that. So some people just consume. And that's fine if that's how you want to live your life and consume. That's fine. You go to work, you do your thing, you come home, you drink a beer, you watch TV, or you go to the movies, or you listen to some music, or you play some video games. That's fine. If that's what makes you happy, then that's great. And I like to do that stuff too. But I also have this thing in me that likes to create, and hence the podcast, hence my art, my tattooing, music, everything else. And I think in order to be a well-rounded person, you need to create also. And if you're into woodworking or you're metalworking or whatever it is, you're a welder, that's creation too. That's art also. So um, I think that as a purist, and there's a lot of purists out there, as a purist, as an artist and a creator, there's a thing called the muse. And the muse will make itself known to you when you sit in the chair and you stare at the blank page, or you stare at the piece of wood or whatever you're going to create, and then the inspiration comes to you from somewhere in the nether, right?
Mhm.
Um, you get inspiration from many different things, but I think there's a moment where you're actually doing the work where there's that inspiration and that aha moment where you're like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to write that down. Me and Tanner have wrote music together.
Mhm.
And that experience was one of the coolest experiences I've ever had is sitting down with a couple other guys and Tanner has some lyrics and I have some structure of the song and someone else has a riff on the guitar and it all comes together and it's amazing when it happens, it comes together quickly.
Yeah,
Um,
I think our song we wrote that we actually had published on Spotify. I think between me, you, it was just me, you, and Jake.
yeah,
In there waiting for everybody else to get there.
yeah,
I wrote it down on a piece of paper,
right.
and you and Jake did the riff and
And
the drums,
yeah,
and then when the rest of them got there, we put it together and made a song.
yeah, it took like 10 minutes.
Yeah,
And and that was a beautiful thing. When that happens, that's that's why you create. It's not you don't create for other people. If you're creating for other people or to make money, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons. So as far as AI is concerned in that, I think it's detrimental to the artistic process and that creation process and the muse. Do I think that it can give you some ideas? Yes. But to a certain point, I remember when Pro Tools and Logic
yeah.
came out and because everybody used to record their music analog. And when Pro Tools and Logic came out in digital music or digital film or whatever it may be, there are still people that are totally against it.
Yeah.
They don't want to use effects. They don't want to use drums that were, you know, done on a computer. And and some bands are having a hard time now going on tour because they've recorded these uh these drum parts through Pro Tools or Logic, and they can't get a real drummer that can replicate it.
Well, that's just like my favorite band in the whole world is Mudvayne. And when they did this, it's been a couple years now. When they came back, um, they had Marcus Rafferty. He's a friend of mine. I've known him for years through Hell Yeah, and we've been Facebook friends. But he started playing guitar with them, and I asked him, what exactly his role was, and then I'd also read in an interview once was he Chad refuses the singer Chad Gray refuses to use backing tracks on stage. He says if you're going to pay for the music, you need to hear. So any songs that they played on that you'll hear it exactly the way it was recorded because he wants you to have the full experience. So Marcus would come back in and play the backing riffs on there and while Greg played all the leads, but you got a full experience. There's no backing tracks, there's no synth, there's no nothing but just the musicians when they're on stage. And he's a firm believer in that. And now Marcus is the lead guitarist for Chad. So
Yeah,
Chad's doing a solo
he
project.
used to be the backing guitarist, like the guy in the back of the stage,
Yep.
filling in some of the guitar parts. Yeah,
And now he's doing full-time lead for Chad, which is super cool. But yeah, I knew him when he was a guitar tech for Hell Yeah. I met him years and years and years ago. But yeah, they don't want that happening. Like, and they don't.
well, they're in the minority then because there is a lot of bands that we enjoy.
Yep.
That you go see them live, and it's a computer show, man. All the lights, all the backing tracks, everything is synced. If their computer goes down, they can't play a show, and it's not just some bands that have been ridiculed for that.
We just watched the Static X show in Phoenix. Me and Brian, we went up and watched them, and the show stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Like because they had malfunction with the whatever that was. They had to stop the show until it got fixed, and then they could go back on.
Yeah, and I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I love to see bands live. I mean, it's one of my favorite things. Got a concert coming up that we just got tickets for. We're super excited about. And that band, it's my favorite band in the world, Avenged Sevenfold. They use backing tracks because when they record with like 96 tracks.
Holy crap.
So it's hard to replicate that on stage. But man, I've seen other bands. I saw Korn one time and it was just the band and they killed it.
Yeah.
And so you know, I don't know. I guess moving forward as we go on with this, because AI is not going away, and it's making people's lives a little easier, I think, and harder at the same time. More complicated for sure, less complicated on some aspects, but I think we're gonna have to just get used to it. And I mean, where do we draw the line though? We draw the line after Neuralink, like when we have something implanted in our
Yep.
heads and our thoughts are going to the cloud. Like I read or I saw a clip the other day of Elon talking to a reporter, and he said that within 5 years, 4 years, but 5 years for sure, that all surgeries will be completely automated and robotic. Every single surgery, no more surgeons,
That'd
and
be crazy.
and less error. They said, like there's what's the percentage? Look up the percentage of error in surgeries. How many times these doctors fuck up in surgery? And so, and for me, like I was tattooing a guy yesterday morning, and he's retired Army. I went to high school with the guy. He was in the Army for 42 years, and his wife is having knee surgery in the next month, and it's going to be a robot that does it. So surgical errors, broad estimations place direct surgical errors roughly at 0.5 to 1% of all cases. That's pretty low.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
really low.
right. For adverse events, though, it says that 33, so 1 in 3 of patients admitted for surgery experienced adverse event or complication.
Also, complications from the surgery,
But
33%.
those aren't necessarily surgeons, though.
Right.
Like,
It wasn't an error from the surgeon.
right. That's just all the stuff after.
That says where major surgical complications do occur, researchers found that 78.3% involved a human error. Wow.
Such as a surgical technique or judgment error.
Wow. So
So that would take out that human factor, because
That's
that's
the
what
human factor.
that's 78% of the 1%. So 78% of the 1% are found to be human error,
human error.
a human factor,
Wow.
not a
What are they gonna do if some crazy thing happens while this robot's inside a human and its appendix bursts out of
Yeah.
nowhere?
Yeah.
What's the robot gonna do? It's not programmed to treat that, though.
Yeah. I mean, it's a rabbit hole we can definitely go down, but I think we're on the verge, and change is always scary, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're on the verge of a huge evolution in how we view the world. Have you heard of simulation theory, Tanner?
Mm-mm.
You haven't heard of the simulation theory?
Probably, but no.
That we are living in a
Oh,
simulation
yes,
right
yes,
now.
yes.
That this isn't actually real. That this is all kind of like the Matrix. The simulation theory. Pull that up, Dory. You know what a liminal space is, Tanner?
Mm-mm.
Liminal space is somewhere like you walk into a library in the middle of the night, and it's kind of weird with no people in it, and it just feels off.
Okay.
That's kind of like a liminal space. Simulation. Have you heard of uncanny valley?
Yes.
So uncanny valley is kind of the same thing. It's just something's off. Something's not right. So simulation theory is that we are living in a simulation, that this is inside of a computer and everything's computer generated for our reality. I don't believe that, but there's no proof that it's not. It doesn't exist, but there really isn't any proof that it does exist. But it is kind of a theory that people talk about, especially with the rapid tech growth. Like we've grown more in the past 20 years than we have throughout human
do you know
history.
why? You want me to tell you why?
Aliens.
Aliens. And let me tell you where it started. I'm going to tell you real quick. After Roswell, fiber optics got invented. The technological boom that happened after Roswell is insane. Like up to that point, we were pretty much an analog world. And it wasn't right after Roswell, but from Roswell on, that's a personal opinion, not a fact. That's just what I feel like. I'm like looking back at all these advances in technology. They all started coming right after the Roswell thing. So I think that they picked up on some stuff in Roswell and reverse engineered a lot of things. And here we are.
Have you ever heard of Bob Lazar?
I just watched, I just bought the movie on Amazon. He has a brand new movie out.
Yeah, Bob Lazar was a scientist and in I believe Area 51.
Yep, Area 51.
And Bob has a lot to say about what he saw. Everything was compartmentalized, obviously, but he was working on propulsion systems. And what he saw was, he got glimpses of flying objects that were stored there. He talked about, what is it, element 115?
Yep, 115. Yep.
That it propelled its the crafts were propelled by a stable heavy isotope of an, I can't even pronounce that word, ununpentium element 115, that doesn't live on this planet. And that's what propels these crafts.
Well, he swears in this movie that they just released, I bought it. But yeah, they go down into exact detail of what he saw, what it looked like, how it worked. Everything is exactly to what he saw in this movie. It's pretty interesting. Even how he got found. He just happened to be at the right place at the right time, and he built some supercar that had a jet engine on it. And the guy giving the talk at the college he was at saw the article in the newspaper and was like, "Hey." So if he wasn't, his story is really, really interesting. Bob Lazar's story is.
He is a rocket scientist. Hey, Dory, look up Hedy Lamarr. I don't know how to spell it.
It's Heddy, I believe.
Speaking of advances in technology, so Hedy Lamarr was a actress. She was Austrian-American actress and inventor. She co-invented frequency hopping technology that laid the foundation for modern Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and cellular telephone technology.
I had no idea. And she was an actress?
She was in the golden age of Hollywood, beautiful actress. And she was one of the co-creators for the internet, Bluetooth, and cell phone technology.
Wow.
And GPS, which is crazy. I mean, there's an argument, male versus female. Well, what have women ever invented? Well, Hedy Lamarr was instrumental in inventing
She's the reason we're on these microphones right now.
Right, exactly. So kind of cool little fun fact right there. And I don't know her. She's Austrian, so I don't know what ties she had in her education, but it'd be fun to kind of go down that rabbit hole and find out. Yeah, she was part of that.
But and you got to I look at AI the way so when this all happened, do you know how many people were probably like, she's the devil?
Yeah, well,
she's sending out signals that you can't see. Like, I think that's kind of where we are with AI right now. We're like, the only problem with it is that didn't threaten humanity, where AI could take over and actually threaten humanity.
Well, from the perspective of people, when the internet first came out, there were people that said it was going to be a threat to humanity. And I mean, look at now, quantum physics, quantum computing, and where that's going. They're talking about other planes of existence, other parallel universes and things like that with quantum computing. Have you heard of the dead internet theory?
Mm-mm.
So dead internet theory is a theory that the internet died back in 2018, I think. Can you look that up? 2018, I think, and that AI just took over the internet already.
Believers suggest that genuine human interaction online is almost extinct, and that what we see is coordinated algorithmic curation designed to control populations. The reality is, the internet died replaced by a manufactured artificial ecosystem dominated by AI bots. So what is it saying? That we don't
Well, right now, you can get on your TikTok, you can get a company to buy you likes,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and they're all bots. 17.6% being completely machine written, AI generated pages. 51% of all internet traffic is bots.
Wow.
49% is human interaction.
Well, I never understood it, but like even on X, if you go on X, I always see people calling each other bots, and I'm like, what does this mean? So I'd look at it, and it was funny because like the most extreme opposite opinion, didn't matter what the topic was, there would always be somebody just like completely opposite of what you said, fighting you to the end. And then you go look, and like it was a common thread of like these people have like one follower,
Right.
or like no followers,
Yeah.
or and I was like, yeah, are these people even real?
They're
Or where'd
not.
they come from?
They're not real. They're warehouses full of computer programmers in other countries and our country that their assignment is to create havoc on the internet.
Hmm. That's pretty crazy.
And now with the, AI just advancing exponentially every day, you don't have to have a warehouse full of people. You just have to have one AI quantum computer that does that.
That's insane. Yeah, on TikTok you can go in, and I noticed that before too. When I first started out on TikTok, it was like pay $10 and we'll get you X amount of followers per day. And you'd pay the $10 and then you'd get all these followers, but they were literal nobodies. No picture on some of them. The names would be there, but they'd have no videos. They would have no followers. They had all these, but they were following you, and I thought, wow, like that's crazy.
So what were we talking about the other day? And you text me and said, "Hey, my phone just came up with this." What was that? What were we talking about?
Oh, yeah, it was Don Fry.
Don Fry.
I've never once in my life, never once searched Don Fry. I know who he is, but I had no reason to search him, look him up, or anything. Eric tells a story about Don Fry last week. Literally hours later, I get on Facebook and I get 3 videos in a row of Don Fry's reels that he made. And I was like, how? I mean, I get that they're listening, but that was just like, I've never looked up Don Fry in my life. Not once, not ever.
Well,
So I don't know. Like, that's
let me tell you a story.
crazy.
So after I left the police department and I opened my CrossFit gym, I had the unique opportunity to go to work for a company called Blauer Tactical Systems
Yep, I remember.
for Tony Blauer.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Tony. I got to travel all over the country and out of the country teaching cops and soldiers. And one of the assignments that I received was to go with Tony and another trainer to Jessup, Maryland. We flew into DC. We went to Jessup, Maryland, and we went to Fort Meade. And Fort Meade, if you're not familiar with Fort Meade or the Jessup, Maryland area, the NSA is there, the Secret Service is there, the CIA is there, Fort Meade is there. Fort Meade is where they keep the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution when it needs to be stored way underground. There's bunkers way underground. There's secret stuff there. But we went to train a group that's no longer, they've been extinct since about 2021, but they were called Asymmetric Warfare Group. And they were data collectors that would go out into the field with other special forces units like CAG and DevGru and teams like that. And they would gather information on the enemy and what worked and what didn't. And they would crunch the data and they would design training around that data. So they're pretty high speed. But AWG was made up of operators who were in the field. It was made up of eggheads that were in, math guys and stuff like that and higher ups. And we got the opportunity to train some of those guys and some Secret Service guys that were there. A guy, I won't name who he was, but he was the head defensive tactics instructor for the Secret Service. And he was on Obama's personal detail back then. But really cool guys. But I was talking to a lieutenant colonel, I won't say his name, and when we went into the building, which was a 5-story building, that was from before World War II, and it used to be a prison for German soldiers in Maryland. They had working gallows in the parking lot. They had incinerators. This place was legit. They didn't have an elevator, and we were training up in this historic training area called the attic, and it was the top floor, and it was basically an attic. But they had a full gym up there. They had mats. They had everything, and we were training some guys up there, and they made us lock up our cell phones when we went in, and
Like, just lock them up, or do they have Faraday cages, or what?
they had these lead line,
Yeah, Faraday cages.
that you had to lock them up, and then you had to write your name down and everything else. But then we're up there training, and there's people up there with cameras and stuff taking pictures. I thought they just didn't want us taking pictures. And there were people up there taking pictures. I said, "What are you guys taking pictures for?" And they said, "Oh, we have a Facebook page." I'm like, "You have a Facebook page for the unit?" And they're all, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Then why did you make us lock our cell phones up?" And this lieutenant colonel was all, "I'll tell you exactly why. I can't tell you everything I can do with your phone, but I can tell you this. First of all, I can make your phone look like it's off when it's on. If you take the battery out of it, I can still power it up," that was weird. He said, "I can listen to every phone call you've ever made. I can look at every text you've ever sent and every picture you've ever sent, even if you've deleted it off your phone." He goes, "I can turn on any machine within Bluetooth distance of that phone, and I can access all the information off that machine through your phone."
Huh.
And he goes, "And that's just the stuff I can tell you about." So that kind of freaked me out a little bit. And so that makes sense now with these algorithms that we have now, especially AI-driven algorithms. My phone knows exactly how to sell me. It knows what I want to buy. It knows what I'm talking about. It's listening to what we're saying right now. My phone's sitting right here. We're probably going to
Obviously, my phone was here last week with Don Fry.
Yeah. So we're definitely, there's hardly any privacy anymore. Thanks to the Patriot Act, there's definitely no privacy anymore. And that's a whole other rabbit hole we can go down. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about AI. I think it's one of those things that if you think too much about it and you try to figure it out, the more scared you're going to get.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on this one, I don't know if we need to just put our head in the sand or, be the sheeple that they want us to be. And I don't know how to slow it down. And I don't know how to not use it and get left behind, because as time goes on and we evolve, like Neuralink, I was talking about Neuralink. If everybody starts getting Neuralink and everybody starts existing on this other level that we don't exist on, how long before we get left behind?
Well, Elon also said on Rogan recently that he believes, or maybe it was Theo, I can't remember, one of them, he believes that soon, he didn't say when, there will be a universal income and nobody will have to work. And they asked him, what do you think it's going to be, like a little bit or a lot? He said it's going to be a universal wealth. You're going to be able to do whatever you want and not have to work because of AI. I thought, man, I mean, I don't know. I've been sick for a week and couldn't go to work. And I like, as much as everybody dislikes work, people that do it all the time and go to work and aren't, sitting on their butts doing nothing all the time, like, I couldn't do it.
Well,
like, I couldn't just sit what do you do? If you have unlimited wealth, you don't have to, worry about, bills being paid or this or that, that's fantastic. However, people are going to get bored. And I think that is going to lead to more drug use. I think people are going to find ways to be excited about things because, I remember reading a story about, I think it was Winona Ryder. And at the time she was a huge actress, but they caught her shoplifting.
Mm-hmm. She's bored.
She was bored.
Yeah.
She got tired of just having everything she wanted. And I feel like that's kind of where it would lead us to. I don't think that, I think it'd work good for a little while, but I just think that it's just going to be, it'd be boring, I think.
Well, there's two schools of thought. So the first school of thought is the nanny state, like you're talking about. When you're taken care of and you don't have to worry about anything and your bills are paid, you get bored. And also, there's no sense of pride in anything.
Exactly. No pride.
There's no sense of accomplishment. There's no sense of any kind of passion for anything. And a lot of people derive passion and a sense of accomplishment from their job, from their careers. It's a very important part of their life. Now, will it open up more space for creativeness like art and music and things like that? I don't know. I know based on the model that we've seen so far as the nanny state, and I don't want to pick on, there are government, there's government help in place for a reason that people need help, and I'm all for that. But when people start to depend on that and they don't have any kind of other fulfillment in their life, they become miserable, just like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know. They're going to definitely, if they do that, if they do a universal income, we were talking about it earlier today before this, if they do a universal income and, universal health care and things like that, they're definitely going to have to figure something out that will fulfill people besides.
Well, you got to worry about like doctors, like, or a plumber. What if you're, and they've got universal income, they just don't want to plumb anymore. Why do they need to?
Well,
like, you're still going to have people out there in the labor force, which I think there's enough of us out there. Like, like I said, I don't ever not want to work. Like, yeah, having vacation's cool. But like not needing to go to work.
There actually is not enough of us out there. Who's the guy? Mike Rowe?
Yeah.
From what's the show?
Dirty Jobs.
Dirty Jobs.
Yep.
He's very smart guy, very outspoken about this. There's a definite hole in the trades right now as people learning a trade, and people just don't want to do it anymore. And I don't know if that's because the last 10, 15 years with social media and things like that. But trades are where it's at. Like, there is such a hole right now. And people in trades are making a lot more money than people that are going to college.
Yeah.
I'll guarantee you that. You go to any barista over in Phoenix and ask what their master's degree is in, and they'll tell you, but they're making, $18 an hour working at Starbucks. And then you go talk to a kid that barely made it out of high school and then became a welder, and he's making $50 an hour.
Yeah. No.
So there's definitely a hole in that, and there's a lot of things that we can talk about that there's a deficit of, but I mean, we're not going to figure it out today. But I think AI is a double-edged sword. That's my take on it. I think it can do great things, but I also think it might be the downfall of us.
I think I'm just kind of in that state where I'm just going to wait and see what happens. Like, I can't control it. I can't stop it. But I also know that at some point I'm not going to be able to live without it. Cause like you said, I'll get left behind. Like, we got to know how to do these things. Like, there's stuff my kids are learning, 9 and 11 years old that I don't know. Like, my youngest Avery can edit a video. Like, how do you do that? Like, I'm the TikTok guy. How come you know how to do that? I don't know how to do that.
Well, my 14-year-old is way more tech savvy than me. That's for sure. Yeah. He laughs at me when I try to do stuff. I was trying to create a YouTube clip from our last podcast today, and he was laughing at me. He's all, the buttons right there, Dad. I was like, oh, okay. I see it now. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's an ongoing conversation, and there's so many different aspects to it because it's going to infiltrate every single part of our lives. It already has. I mean, I'm full disclosure. I use it all the time.
Yeah.
When I want to look stuff up, I ask AI, hey, what about this? What do you think about this? And they're really good answers, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're really good answers.
I'll tell you what I did the other day. I was at work. So where I work, it's called Audio Visions. We were one of the last 2 remaining Radio Shacks. and we've only been closed the Radio Shack for 3 years now. I think they finally closed the doors on us. But we still have a bunch of Radio Shack stuff in. So people come in and ask for capacitors and resistors and, all the stuff the Radio Shack used to sell. And this guy came in the other day and he's like, hey, I can't remember what the numbers were, but he's like, I need a certain ohm resistor, this many volts. And I was like, well, I've still got a bunch, but I don't think I'm going to have that exact thing. I literally walked over there, opened up the drawer with all the sections, and I took a picture and said to Gemini on AI, I said, I need this resistor. And it, within seconds, said, take these two, take those two, twist them together, put these ones end on end, you'll have the exact resistance you need.
Oh, wow.
Within seconds. And I was like, holy crap. So we were able to do, that's pretty cool to do. Like that, I don't know how much math or whatever we had to do to try to figure that out.
It's all cool.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it enhances your life, but man, at what cost? Eventually at what cost? So I'd love to hear the comments from the viewers and from the listeners. Please comment about this. I want to hear what everybody has to say, and don't just say "fuck AI" or whatever. Give us some well.
You can say that. But tell us why.
Yeah, tell us why.
Give us a reason why you say "fuck AI."
Yeah,
I want to know what you're maybe we're missing something. Maybe we're not seeing something you are. Plus, I love conspiracies. Yes. So if you've got a conspiracy about it, feel free, man.
Yeah, we want to hear all the stories and all the comments. Feel free to do that. Man, we're over an hour now, Tanner.
Yeah, well,
wrap it up?
I think our little friend over here, Dorito, has she's typed something on the computer. I think we need to. So the best, obviously listening to our podcasts and commenting, that's great and everything. But what we'd really like you to do is, if you like it, share it with somebody. It takes 2 seconds to hit that share button and send it to your messages. It takes no time at all.
Share it on your stories.
And the more people we can reach, we're still going to do it. Like Eric said last week, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. We're going to do this every week. So that's just the way it is. So, but yeah, if you enjoy what we're doing, if you think this, is cool to you, let's see if you can find, I challenge everybody, just share it with at least one person this week. Send it to them and just say, hey, check this out. Maybe they'll hate it. Who knows? But I'd like them to at least have the option. That'd be cool.
Love it or hate it. Just watch it.
And, comment, I don't know. We're going to start, I think we should start doing contests too on our Facebook page with comments, likes, and stuff like that. Maybe like I said, I'm looking into getting I got some stickers made so far. I'd like to get some shirts and stuff we can sell.
Shirts made. Follow us on YouTube. Cop in the Con podcast on YouTube.
How is it exactly? Is it
Cop in the Con?
So no the before. So just Cop in the Con
podcast.
Cop in the Con
podcast on YouTube.
On YouTube, yeah.
And we're going to be posting. Next time you see us in the studio, this studio is probably going to be painted and decorated. Where it's a work in progress, folks. We just tested out our video today, and it's working pretty good. So
yeah, I got a banner made. So it'll be hanging up soon. It should be done before. They said before the second week of July, so it should be coming soon. And yeah, we got some paint. We're going to paint it up. We're going to personalize some stuff. Again, we're open to any suggestions, like anything that you think we might have missed on, or anything you think would be cool to talk about in the future. It's what we're doing it for.
Yeah.
So
I want to, before we go off, I want to give some local shout outs to some of the area businesses. First of all, Tanner Audio Visions, where Tanner works. Tanner, you want to talk a little bit about Audio Visions?
Yeah. So Audio Visions, Larry, my boss, Larry Matthews, he opened up the store in 1987. He's been selling car audio, Radio Shack. He's one of the biggest dish network contractors in the whole Western United States. We're all headquartered right here in town, but he's been around so long. Like JL Audio is one of the huge, just worldwide brands of speakers. He is dealer number 28. Every time we call in, he's the 28th person to ever pick up JL Audio. So he's been around forever. But yeah, we do Dish Network. We sell internet. We do Boost Mobile. We do car audio. We have a huge hobby store with RC cars and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a pretty cool store.
Also, our buddy Reed Richens just recently bought Richards Music in town. You want to talk a little bit about Richards?
Yeah. Richards has been around since the freaking 50s, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And the original owner still works for Reed.
Yes.
Dave Murphy. He's still there. He's not going anywhere.
Used to play in a band with my uncle.
Yep. He just did that. So that's pretty cool. We're also, something else I'd like to mention too is this year I'm going to be judging the Battle of the Bands, which is July 11th here in Graham County. It doesn't matter if you're in Graham County or not. If you want to play in the Battle of the Bands, just hit me up on Facebook and I'll get you the link where you can go sign up. So that's coming up from Double R Sound here, the radio station here. So
yeah, and I'd like to give a shout out to where I work, 19XX Studio downtown Safford. I'm a tattoo artist there, but it's a full service salon with we have a 2 or 3 girls doing salon stuff, hair and nails. We have piercings, and then we have like 2 or 3 barbers in the place. It's owned by Austin Mitchell, and come down there. It's in it's under the Copper and Cotton store on the side there. But come down there and check them out. They're great. And also want to give a shout out to my boys at the Fight Factory on Main Street in Safford, doing some cool stuff. They got a couple of guys that are going to go pro in their next couple fights, and over there with RJ and Eddie and Josh, they're doing some good things. They got a kids class, so check them out at the Fight Factory if you get a chance. Do you have anything else, Tanner?
I do not. I don't have anything pressing.
Dory, do you have anything?
I sure don't.
Okay, great. Hey, thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next time on
See
The
ya.
Cop and the Con.
See you later.
Peace.